Hello, everyone. Good evening from Japan. And we all from Scott Webinars wish you have started a very good year already. We had many of you supporting us during 2022, and we are very keen to continue with Scott Webinars to reach and broadcast the voice of local communities to tourism industry, academia, and local governments. And we hope that Scott Webinar is going forward to include all communities and the industry united with academia and move ahead. Today, as the first webinar of the new year, Scott will bring the voice of local communities in Oita who are very special in terms of utilizing and managing and conserving natural resources. Today's guest speakers are working together in a group, and we have Dr. Yano, who is a plant specialist, and he has worked on the edible and medicinal plants around Japan, including Oita Prefecture. Mr. Yano has studied about 200 species of medicinal and edible plants in Oita Prefecture in Japan. And he has been able to bring a lot of old recipes back to the table that not only revitalize the culture, but also it brings more attention and attraction to the tourism in Oita Prefecture. He has a number of initiatives, and one of them is a series of cooking workshops that he is doing with local community to teach people who are interested in medicinal plant how to cook with. And today we are pleased to have two of these successful let's say students or colleagues of Dr. Yano, who have developed their own model of medicinal plant cooking, and they attract people to their places from Oita Prefecture and from outside. So we call it medicinal plant tourism. And we hope that this dialogue will bring more attention to the natural resources that we have around us, and what we can do with our natural resources, how we can utilize it for the community development as well. I would like to save the time and stop here and invite Dr. Yano to present his presentation for us today. Dr. Yano, the floor is yours. You can share your PPT file too.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tadanori Yano. I live in Kunisaki Peninsula of Oita Prefecture. Kunisaki Peninsula faces the Seto Inland Sea, and the climate is relatively warm. It doesn't rain much, but the climate is similar to that of the Mediterranean Sea. I'm currently working as a representative of a non-profit organization called NPO お薬研究会。
以前の10年ぐらい前のに製薬会社に勤めておりまして、現在
About 10 years ago, I worked for a pharmaceutical company where I studied both Western medicine and Chinese medicine. Therefore, I was familiar with herbs.
製薬会社の時に、西洋薬と、漢方薬両方勉強しましたので、薬草とっていうのは非常に馴染みがありました。しかしながら、そんなに真剣には研究していなかったんですけど、
Although I didn't study it too seriously, I've come to realize how wonderful these medicinal herbs are, which is what I am going to be talking about.
気づくことになりました。じゃあ、その経緯についてご説明いたします。じゃあ、次のスライドお願いします。2011311。これ皆さんご存知でしょうか？
2011311. Do you all know what these numbers mean?
東日本大震災。
This is the day of the Great East Japan earthquake, which happened 11 years ago.
東北の方で起きた大震災ですね、災害なんですけど、私はその当時、
At that time, I was in a place called Kitsuki in Kunisaki Peninsula, Oita Prefecture.
この日はですね、午後のことでしたけど、テレビが
It was in the afternoon, during recess, while I was drinking tea, and I learned from the news that something terrible was going on.
わかりました。で、その日はちょうど晴れていったんですけど、午後の、皆さん、本当休憩する、コーヒータイムというか、そういう時間だったんですけど、私も、お茶かなんかを飲んでたんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、はい。じゃあ次のスライドお願いします。次のスライドお願いします。これがですね、当日の石巻というところの写真。
This is a photo of a place called Ishinomaki in Miyagi Prefecture on that day.
左の下の方にビルがあってですね、
There's a building on the lower left where 4 people are all looking in different directions, watching in disbelief.
見ているんですけど、何が起きてるんだろうような感じの写真に見えます。じゃあ次のスライドお願いします。はい、これも同じ日の石巻の写真なんです。
This is another photo of Ishinomaki on the same day. And in the lower left corner, there's a man standing on the building, looking helpless and having a hard time acknowledging reality.
なすすべもないというような感じで、この現実をですね、認めがたいなというような、そんな感じで、写っています。で、この2つの写真を見るとですね、
If you look at these two pictures, you can see that a newly purchased car or a newly purchased house is easily washed away by the tsunami.
津波で簡単に流されている。そんな ことをの写真のように見えます。で、その時私は考えたんですけど、今まで
When I
の
saw this, I thought that the
生活スタイ
happiness
ル
we
です
have
ね、
now, with mass
大量
production,
生産、大量
mass
消費、
consumption,
大
and
量
mass
廃棄、
disposal lifestyle
こう
was
いうこと
just
を
an
繰り返
illusion.
していけばですね、必
I
ず幸
thought
せになるので
perhaps there
は
is a
ないか
different
という時、
lifestyle, a more
で
down to
そう
earth
というか
lifestyle.
そういうことをずっと思い続けてきた
In
生
other
活だった
words,
んですけど、
a life in
ま
which small lot
ひょっ
production
とした
is
らです
used,
ね、違う
and if
違
something
う
breaks
生活
down,
の
we fix it.
スタイルがあるんではないか。
Maybe that kind of life is
足
better,
元
or
を
at least that
地
is
に足
what
を
I
つけて
thought.
ですね、生活、すなわち少量生産で、しかも丁寧にそれを使って、故障すればまたそれを修理する。そういう生活の方がいいんではないだろうかな。少なくとも私自身はそういうふうに考えました。で、実はこの時にですね、津波から逃れてですね、山に逃げていった
I heard that there was a woman who escaped from the tsunami
で、
and
そ
ran
の
away to the mountains.
ご婦人が、足元を見ると、
When the lady looked
足
at
元
her
にはタン
feet,
ポポだとか、
there are
大葉だとかです
medicinal
ね、
herbs,
そういう
such as
薬草が
dandelions growing
生え
there.
ていて、で、それ
She
を
used them to make dishes with simple
使っ
recipes
てですね、
and
簡
later
単なレ
served
シピ
them
を
to those who
で
also ran to the mountains.
お料理作って、後から逃れてきた人に、そのお料理を食べてもらったって、そんなニュースがですね、伝わってきました。で、
It was an opportunity to think about the meaning of medicinal herbs, that they can be used as emergency food.
薬草の一つの意味というか、そういうのを考える機会になったんですね。で、大分の方でも、もうその東北の大震災の後、
Even in
そういう
Oita
ですね、
Prefecture, people began to worry about the occurrence of a tsunami and earthquake called the
これから
Nankai
ですね、
Trough. If so,
南海トラフっていう
I thought it would be important for us to study what we can
津波
eat
と地震
in
を
an
生み出してい
emergency.
る、そういうことで、非常に皆さん気にするようになりました。で、そこで、そうであればですね、我々も少しそういう非常時に食べられるものを研究しておくことが大事じゃないかなっていうふうに思いました。で、しばらくしているうちにですね、実は、国東半島でですね、活躍した
After a
昆虫
while,
学者、
I learned that there was a
こ
scholar
の人がです
named
ね、薬草の
Hikakaku
お
who was
研究
active
者
as
と
an
いうことで
herbalist in the
その
Kunisaki
そ
Peninsula.
の人がですね、角比嘉さんっていう学者がいたということを知りまして、で、200年ぐらい前に生まれた方
He was
なん
born
ですけ
about
ど、
200 years ago,
この方がですね、薬草の研究を幅広くやっている。
and I learned that he was doing extensive research on medicinal herbs.
で、これが角比嘉さんが12歳の時に描いた絵なんですけど、
This is a picture that Hikakaku drew when he was 12 years old,
描いてるんですね。本像っていうんですけど、
and it
これがとて
depicts
も
two medicinal
上
herbs.
手なんです。
He was very talented.
で、角比嘉さんはその写生技術を使ってですね、全国津々浦
I learned that Hikakaku uses sketching technique to gather herbs from all over the country.
その植生を調べている
He
という
picked
ことを知りま
herbs
した。
and sketched them to study whether they were edible or not.
これが年表なんですけど、1839年
This is a chronological table,
え
and
全国
since
津々浦々
1839,
日本中を回って
he traveled all over Japan,
最悪と言って
collecting
その
medicinal
スケッチ
herbs,
してまた
sketching them,
その
and recording
記
them.
録に残すという活動を続けています。で、最後、嘉永5年っていうんですが、1852年ですね。これがペリー来航。
The arrival of Perry happened in 1853, but around that time in 1852, He was researching edible medicinal herbs in Kitsuki and Kunisaki Peninsula.
薬草の植生を調査研究しております。まあ、こういう本草学、薬草の先生がいるということを知りました。はい。で、さらにはですね、休校本草略史っていう本を残してるんですけど、この休校っていうのは、
In addition, he left a book called Kyuko Honzo Ryakusetsu, which describes the medicinal herbs that were eaten in the four major famines of the Edo period.
薬草についてですね、本に残して、います。で、244種類の
He also describes how to cook and eat 244 medicinal herbs.
調理方法とか、まあ、そういう食べ方についても記載して、残してくれています。で、まあ、アケビとか小豆とかこうあるんですけど、244種類ですね。で、この本をベースにして、で、我々が今手に
I thought that I would like to continue learning new cooking methods and knowledge based on this book.
この文化っていうか、そういう知識をですね、継続していきたいなというふうに思いました。はい。で、これが震災の10日の地に、まあ、ご婦人方の集まりで、食生活改善協議会っていうのがあるんですけど、
There was a group of women living in the area affected by the earthquake, and a group called the Dietary Habits Improvement Council prepared this dish using medicinal herbs. And this was reasonably edible.
まず食べられるということが確認できました。で、はい、次お願いします。で、これがですね、東北の方で、震災の後、3年後ぐらいに、その震災の時にどういった
About 3 years after the earthquake, a research report was published about the kind of emergency food people ate in the Tohoku region during the disaster.
で、それを見ると、このご婦人は、陳皮、まあ、温州みかんですね。みかんの皮を使って、非常食で。
It is reported that this lady used orange peels and ate them as emergency food.
次お願いします。で、まあ、東北大震災というのは大きい震災があったんですけど、もうしばらくないのかなって思っていたんですが、
After the Tohoku earthquake, I thought that there wouldn't be one for a while, but 5 years later, there was another earthquake in Kumamoto this time.
地震。で、この地震はですね、益城町っていう、益城町というところなんですけど、熊本の
This earthquake was in Mashikimachi, and although there was no tsunami, there were about 800 aftershocks in a day, and they were in no condition to return
余震
home.
がですね、1日にもう800回とか、余震があって、とても家に戻れる状態ではなかったんですね。はい。じゃあ次お願いします。で、その時に広い空き地とか、まあ、グラウンドですね。そういった広場で、車に車中泊っていうんですけど、車で寝泊まりした。
People continued to stay in the car for a while in a large vacant lot or some kind of open space.
その時にこの10日のうちに朝日新聞に出た天聖人語というコラムがあるんですけど、その中に、まあ、グリーンの線で、示しているところなんですけど、
At that time, Asahi Shimbun's column called Tensei Jingo showed that a 14-year-old girl picked mugworts and trefoils while her junior high school was temporarily closed.
生物好きの娘が、探した食材で、食卓に彩りを添えている。
These ingredients, found by the biology-loving girl, added color to the dining
こう
table.
いう非常時にですね、こういう中学生がそういう
It's wonderful that a junior high schooler was able to do that in an emergency, and it is also wonderful that it was covered in an article.
で、これはですね、3年か4年ぐらい前のことなんです
This
け
was
ど、
about 3 or 4 years ago,
岡山
but this
なんです
time
け
it
ど、
is in
これは
Okayama.
集中豪雨ですね。で、前の東北とか、熊本の場合は、天災、
In the
自
case
然
of
災害が
Tohoku and
今度
Kumamoto,
は
it was a natural disaster,
温暖化の影響
but
で
this
です
time
ね、
it was a
集中豪雨
torrential
が
rain
最近
due to
起き
the
ており
effects
ま
of
す。
global
はい。
warming.
次お願いします。これも同じような集中豪雨で
This
す
is
ね。
also
はい。
torrential rain.
次お願いします。これも人吉っていうところなんですけ
This
ど、
is a place
こ
called
こも
Hitoyoshi,
ま
and
た
there was
集中豪雨
torrential
があるんで
rain
すね。
here as
これ
well.
はもう、そういうのが
These kind of things
続いて
continue.
おります。はい。で、そういうことで、
So I
薬
thought that
草は
medicinal
今すぐ
herbs
使
can
い
be used as
ましょ
emergency
うと
food.
いうふうに思います。で、今やってる活動ですけど、はい。で、薬草はお料理に使え
In
る
the
っていう
activity I'm doing now, I decided to call out to people that medicinal herbs can be used for
いろ
cooking.
んな人に声かけして、薬草料理を作ることにしました。はい。これがですね、白爪草っていう薬草なんですけど、それをみんなでこう
This is a medicinal herb
摘んで
called white
摘むんです
clover,
ね。
and we all
で、
pick
こ
it together, as you can
の
see.
薬草を摘むこと自体がですね、ものすごく楽し
Picking
い、
herbs is a lot of fun.
ご覧のようにですね。
It's just white clover, but it
名
turned
前
out
は
to be a lot of
白
fun.
爪草ですけど、とても楽しい。はい。ということが分かりました。はい。次お願いします。で、これを調理室に持って帰って、今お料理していると
We
ころ
took
で
this
す。
back
は
to the
い。
kitchen, and they're now cooking it.
これはパンの生地に、
We are mixing the
薬
medicinal
草
herbs with the
白
bread
草
dough.
ですね。それを混ぜているところです。はい。で、これが今熟成をさせています。はい。で、これが焼き上がった
And this is the
パ
baked
ン
bread.
ですね。パンです。はい。で、今皆さ
You
ん
can
で
see everyone arranging the dishes.
並べているところです。はい。で、これがその日にできたお
This
料
is
理
a
の
set of dishes that were made that day.
セットですね。はい。で、そういうふうに薬草を使ってお料理をずっと始めたんですけど、1年ぐらいこう続けているうち
I
に、
started cooking using medicinal
勉
herbs
強
like so,
系統的に勉強したい
but
な
after about a year of continuing it,
ことがあ
I
りま
started
し
to want to
て、
study
そ
systematically.
れではということで、
So I made a
教科書を作って
textbook and created a
カリキュラム
curriculum.
を作ってですね、で、それを系統的に勉強しましょうということに、なりまして、で、薬草料理マイスター養成講座というのを
And that is how we
する
started
ことに
the
なりました。
Yakuso Ryori Meister Yosei Koza, which is the medicinal herb cuisine Meister training course.
集まってもらって、12回ですね。
It was decided that we would meet once a month and study 12 times throughout the year.
勉強するということになりました。はい。じゃあ、はい、これは文豪大野市って言っていうところなんですけど、視聴者の中で
This is a place called
調理室
Bungo
があるん
Ono
ですけど、
City,
その中で
and there's a kitchen in the city hall
市民
where
が
we gather the citizens of Bungo
そこ
Ono
で
and start the medicinal herb cuisine Meister training
マイスター
course.
養成講座を始めました。で、真ん中の男性
The
が
man in the
市
middle
職員です
is a city official.
はい。はい、これが参加者の皆さんですね。
Here are all the
まあ
participants,
みんなニコニコして、
and as you can see, everyone is smiling and having a lot of fun.
はい、こういうふうにしてですね。はい。はい。はい。で、これが皆さんが最終日に
This is the certification ceremony that everyone will have on the last day.
勉強した成果を
The result of the course is in the form of a potluck dish, and I think that the quality is very high.
完成度が高いんではないかなって思うんですけど、 はい。で、これがマイスター養成
And again, this is the certification ceremony for the course.
で、私の隣
And the
に
person next to me is the mayor.
おられる方が副市長さん、市長さんでしたね、です。はい。で、今やってる、さらにこういうことをやりたいなって思ってる
There's a dream I have right now,
夢なんですけど、
and
まあ
that is to develop a town based on edible medicinal herbs.
はい。はい。まず、薬草レストラン、真ん中辺にあるんですけど、薬草レストラン。
First of all, the medicinal herb restaurant in the middle, and the bakery that makes bread with medicinal herbs.
パン屋さんで、下に行きますと、
If you go down, you can see the herb cafe and sweets made with medicinal herbs.
ハーブを使っ薬草を使ったお菓子とかですね。また家具とか、
There are also furniture,
とか
general goods,
化粧品、
cosmetics, herb seeds
それ
for
から
sale, and
ハーブの
even
苗
salons.
とかですね、種とか苗、それから染め物をするとか、サロンですね。まあ、そんなお専門にしている人が、まあ
It would be nice if people with such specialties could gather up and create a town.
テーマパークっていうか、一つの街ができればいいなと。で、そこに研究機関があって、
I think it would be good if there was a research institute that does not attach academic significance to it.
意義づけ、をするような研究機関が入ってくれば、いいんではないかなというふうに、まあ、栽培もしながらですね。はい。まあ、そんなことをちょっと目指して。
That is what I'm aiming for.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yano. Your initiatives are very attractive, and I'm sure a lot of people in Oita Prefecture, they enjoyed the taste of cooking with medicinal plants, and we are looking to experience more of your activities and activity design that you have based on the local natural resources. Thank you very much. Tonight we have two of Dr. Yano's collaborator with us, and those who participated in Dr. Yano's medicinal plant cooking workshops. One of them is Miss Unno. I'm going to ask Miss Unno to bring us all her souvenirs, and I'm sure you will get some of us as your customer very soon.
皆さんこんばんは。
Floor is yours.
はい、こんばんは。運の千恵子と申します。
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chieko Unno.
出身なんですけれども、今
I'm from Shizuoka Prefecture, but now I live in Saiki City of Oita Prefecture.
今映っているここの
The picture you see here is the house I am in right
こ
now.
ちらで摘み草をして皆さんと一緒に
We pick herbs here and hold a cooking lesson called Yasojuku, Wild Grass School, where we use medicinal herbs.
次お願いします。私静岡県静岡市
I was born in Shizuoka City of Shizuoka Prefecture. I moved to Saiki City 5 years ago as part of the Chi-Kyokoshi Kyogyokutai, which is the Community Revitalization Corporation Corps. But when I was in my 50s, I developed an illness where I had to use steroids, and as a side effect, I gained 20 kilograms. It was tough, so I thought about how I could heal myself, and while reading various books and being taught by various teachers, I realized that I should just go back to nature. So I decided to study more about medicinal herbs and took the herb test at the Japan Herb Association in Tokyo.
東京にある日本和ハーブ協会というところで和ハーブの検定を受けました。 その後、2015年5月に
After that, in May 2015, I launched the Wild Grass School.
ハーブティーとかはいろいろ皆さんあるんですけれども、
I'm sure you all know of herbal tea, but it is difficult to know what kind of herbs are in it, which makes it hard to put to practical use. This is why we start to gather herbs ourselves, cook them, and then eat them.
っていうようなことを始めたのが2015年の5月なんですね。そしてその後佐伯市に移住してきまして、
After that, I moved to Saiki City, where I met Mr. Yano of the Medicinal Herb Cuisine Meister, and I studied there for a year.
大分と静岡を中心に
Currently, I am mainly in Oita and Shizuoka, but I'm also in Gunma, Wakayama, Miyazaki, and even Fukuoka.
声かけていただければどこにでも飛んで
I will basically fly anywhere if you ask me, and do cooking classes with the locals where we find local wildflowers.
料理教室をして皆さんと一緒にいただくっていうような出張講座もさせていただいています。次お願いします。でこのように摘み草というフィールドワークがあるんです
As you
け
can
れども、
see, there is a field work called tsumikusa, which is picking herbs. And every month, even in this cold season, some kind of medicinal herbs are growing, so we go out and pick them. I teach them things such as poisonous herbs, herbs that are bitter but good for your health, and even about the sweet and tasty herbs. In addition to herbs, flowers, nuts, grass seeds, and grass roots are taught as well. There are times like this where I also pick herbs with children. They seem to love picking herbs, and these times are very precious. This is when we cooked the medicinal herbs we picked and made it into a tempura, an iconic Japanese dish, which is very popular among students. Other than tempuras, we also season them with sesame sauce, grow them with cheese, and even make pickles out of them. Some of the people here are in poor physical condition. The woman in the middle got married but had trouble conceiving, so she participated in the hope of improving her physical condition. It's been 3 years since she started coming here, and she got pregnant at the end of last year. She will finally give birth this summer, and she is very pleased with the change in her condition. It's simply just eating medical herbs, but I find it very rewarding and a lot of fun to see her worries go away. This is some of the dishes at the Wild Grass School, and on the left is a portion for one person. We always use pesticide-free brown rice, and for the miso soup, we use miso that has been matured. In the middle is a salad from around July, and we used many beautiful flowers such as daylilies that were blooming in the garden or on the nearby banks. A lot of the women were surprised that they can eat such flowers, and they seemed very excited. It is a lot of fun for everyone to taste it. On the right is the iconic tempura, and there are various kinds of tempura, such as flowers and medicinal herbs. You can even pick mugwort that is growing nearby and make it into tempura like this. The one on the very right is tea, But we also make herbal tea by putting marigold petals and zinnia petals in a cup, and we all drink it together. I think there are people who enjoy going each month, since the wild grasses that can be caught vary from month to month.
楽しみながら通ってくれる方が多いように思います。次お願いします。で、これは料理教室ではなくて様々な講座。
I'm sometimes invited to participate in various courses other than cooking classes. This is when I talk to the female firefighters of Saiki City about emergency food and how medicinal herbs can be used during a disaster.
お話しさせていただいたものです。これがよもぎ一つとっても
A single mugwort can be used as a medicine for wounds, brushing teeth, bathing, and of course for food.
東洋医学の考え方、教えに基づいたこんな講座も各地でさせていただいて
I give these kinds of lectures in various places based on the mindset and teachings of Oriental medicine.
次お願いします。はい。それでね、野草の魅力なんですけれども、こちら今映っているのがこれが静岡の拠点野草塾をしている。
This is an aerial photo of the house in Shizuoka where the wild grass school is based.
静岡ですので周りは全部お茶畑なん
The
です。
surroundings are all tea fields.
5月の初めになると新緑
At the beginning of May, I'm surrounded by the unique green of tea leaves, which gives out a nice energy.
で野草の魅力って何かっていうと、
What is appealing about wild plants is that they are not something we have to spend money on, nor is it troublesome.
そういうことではなくて、健康になるために使う野菜
Wild herbs are everywhere and they make you healthy.
あります。どこにでもあって、誰でも採取する
Anyone can pick them, and these naturally grown wild plants give out good energy, and they make you feel happy and healthy.
とてもエネルギーが良くて、体の調子を整えたり、元気にしたり、そしてハッピーな気持ちにしてくれるものが多いなと思うんですね。で、みんなでそれを積んできて、みんなで調理して、みんなで一緒にいただくっていう。
The concept of this wild grass school is that everyone picks, cooks, and eats it together, so they can be healthy both physically and mentally.
摘み草というののコンセプトなんですね。で、野草は、大量生産ができるわけではありませんので
Wild grasses cannot be mass produced, so this relates to the concept of preventive medicine, which leads to good health. Just take the amount you need, when you need it, enjoy it, and be grateful for the energy you receive.
この健康につながる予防医学の考え方になるんじゃないかななんて思っております。以上です。
Thank you very much.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you, Ms. Uno.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. And we are looking
ありがとうご
forward
ざい
to
ます。
visit your house and taste the medicinal plant
はい、
dishes that you cook. So I'm sure you have helped
はい
other people to
ぜ
gain
ひ
their
食べに来てくだ
health.
さい。
The story of the lady that could be
はい
healthy again and give birth because of eating
はい
medicinal plant and herbal medicinal diet. It's very interesting, and I'm sure that will attract many people who are seeking for natural treatment. Thank you very much again. And today we have another very important
はい
guest. This will be our third speaker who share with us the story of what she has done in Yufu City. Miss Uchida has been living in Yufu City and communicated with the residents once she came back to Yufu City. And her story is about revitalization of a locality and destination branding through medicinal plant and food tourism. I would like to ask Ms. Uchida. Actually, she is with me today. We are in the same room, and I'm going to change the floor to her to listen to her presentation. Ms. Uchida, please share with us your expertise, please.
内田初美です。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
My name is Hatsumi Uchida. Thank you for having me.
私は18の時から自分の実家を出て
When I was 18, I left my family home and went to the city of Beppu in Oita Prefecture.
そして一人暮らしになっていた母がやっぱりもう90近くになって
My mother had been living alone since then and is now nearly 90, so I came back to the family house to take care of her.
帰ってまいりました。もし実家に戻ってきてからすぐにいろいろ町の方にいた時に文化的な活動とかを大分県下のあちこちのホールを使ってやってましたので
When I was in the city, I used to go to various venues in Oita Prefecture for cultural activities. So as soon as I returned to the countryside, I was asked to join the Yufugawa Gorge Tourism Association, which I quickly accepted.
早速入りました。そしてやっぱり80世帯ぐらいの小さな村ですから、地域に
Since it is a village of about 80 households, and it's been a long time since I came back to this area, I actively participated in various activities such as mowing the grass and cleaning the waterways to get used to this town.
We have a technical issue to solve. I'm going to change the channel of Ms. Uchida. We need just a few seconds. ちょっとhere. Bring it.
あ90近い母の介護に久しぶりに田舎の
As I said, I returned to the countryside for the first time in a while to take care of my mother, who is nearly 90 years old.
田舎の中でやはり自分のものが言える場所が欲しいなと思いまして
First of all, I wanted a place where I could express myself, so I decided to actively participate in various events and create my own space.
作ろうと思って考えました。そして私は田舎にいる時は何もあんまりお手伝い
When I first lived in the countryside, I didn't help out much, but when I came back, I did a lot of things like cleaning the waterways with other men while wearing unusual outfits.
水路の掃除とかいろいろやりました。そしてその時に出かける時に母があなたのそんな姿初めて見たと
And when I was leaving my house, my mother laughed at me and said, "It's the first time I've seen you like that." But I did do my best to help.
そしてそうやって積極的にいろんな会に顔を出すこと
And by actively attending various meetings like that, little by little, I started talking to a lot of people.
農泊というのもその頃
Around that time, farm stays began in Yufu City, and I actively participated in those as well, while inviting people who were close to my age to join with me.
頑張りましょう。新しい風を吹かせましょう。ということで農泊も始めました。だいたい外国の方が9カ国ぐらいの
We welcomed people from about 9 different countries. They couldn't speak the language, but that is how we got used to communicating with different kinds of people.
なんか皆さん平気になったねっていうようになりました。そして農泊とか始めると
When we started farm stays, we began to want to make a local specialty for the area since our village didn't have one. That is when Mr. Yano's Herb Meister course started, and I invited 3 of my friends to go with me.
それも友達を3人誘って4人で私がいつも車に乗せて行ってですね、それでみんな誰も落ちこぼれもなくて、1ヶ月に1回1年間
We attended once a month for a year and learned a lot.
勉強させていただきました。そして本当に私たち
I realized that there are various medicinal herbs around our village which can be eaten and used as medicine, and that we were living in a treasure trove.
なんと宝の山の中に住んでいるようなことに気がつきました。そしてそのうち特産品を考えるときに
Then, when we were thinking about local specialties, we thought about the name of the place called Honoki in Yufu City, and Honoki also means magnolia in Japanese. So we thought of making a local specialty using magnolia leaves. And when we looked into magnolias, not only did we find that they have big leaves and beautiful flowers, but also great antioxidant and antibacterial effects, which cheered us up.
お花も綺麗で大きいんです。それでなんかいいなという私たちが元気になるようなホオノキでした。その葉っぱを活用して
Using the flowers and leaves, we made hoba okowa, which is steamed glutinous rice using medicinal herbs, mountain plants, and wild vegetables from various villages. This became very popular, if I do say so myself, and still continues to do so. Up until then, we had been moving from one house to another, but we wanted a base, so we decided to use Honoki Elementary School, a small red-roofed elementary school, as our base. In addition to hoba okowa, we made 500 yen lunchboxes for elderly people living alone and gave them out once a month. This again, if I say so myself, became popular and is still going on. It's already been 10 years since our group, Hoba no Kai, started. The leaves with thick leaf veins in this plate are hoba, magnolia leaves, and the okowa, steamed rice, is wrapped in it. It smells great and is very popular. The magnolia wrapped steamed rice is also convenient to eat outside without the need for a plate or chopsticks. We also developed a cute sweet called kobara-chan. We then opened Cafe Honoki on Sundays and Thursdays at Honoki Elementary School, where not only can you get lunchboxes, but have meals as well. This is also still going on. The village I came back to was rare for a woman to be active, but as I invited friends to the Meister course and got included in various activities at the Tourist Association, I started to get some results, little by little. And as the members got more motivated, worked harder, and started making more and more friends, I felt glad that I came back to the countryside and started all of this. And since we are already in our 60s and 70s, I also think that we have to pass this on to the next generation. The magnolia trees grow very large, and so I believe that the leaves will never die out. I will continue to do my best to cherish the magnolia leaves of the magnolia trees, and at the same time, cherish the village, Honoki. It would also be good if I could make a lot of small leaders, which I believe would lead to the revitalization of the village.
Thank you, Ms. Uchida. It was also very interesting to know about your experiences and especially naming a destination by a plant. And this plant that created identity and revitalized the history of the region that is also edible and is medicinal. Altogether means that how you have beautifully designed a revitalization plan and community development. Now we are going to have a short video that we can see the place after having a visual image of the place and geographical location. We are coming back again with a panel discussion. So please don't forget to move, stretch your bodies, become more healthy, and grab your drink while you're watching the video. It has Japanese narration with English subtitle, and we will be back in 3 to 5 minutes with panel discussion. My colleagues are going to show the video and we watch together. Thank you again, and very interesting presentations. now I'm going to invite all the speakers and moderators and also Professor Cooper. We have a special guest today, Professor Nakamura and Professor Kosaka, that they kindly attend this meeting, and we want to hear from all the experiences that you have, especially in Japan. My first question is to Dr. Yano. Dr. Yano, you came to Oita Prefecture from Osaka. So my question is, how do you see the capacity and possibility of rural Oita Prefecture in providing job and livelihood based on medicinal plant for young generation, if they come back and they want to live in rural places?
Hi. 薬草、江戸時代はですね、本草
Medicinal herbs were called honzo, which is herbal medicine, in the Edo period.
で、江戸時代に非常に本草学っていうのが研究されまして、で、本草学
There was a great deal of research of herbalism back then, and it was precisely because of herbalism that Western medicine was adopted.
取り入れられたっていう、そういう背景があって、本草学、薬草の文化っていうのが江戸時代非常に盛んだったんですね。で、それが明治維新の時に一旦閉ざされてし
It
ま
was
った。
temporarily dismissed during the Meiji Restoration,
もう一度
but I think we are now at an important time to revive it.
今大事な時期に来てるんではないかなっていうふうに思ってます。で、大分県には先ほど
As I mentioned earlier, the privilege of us having medicinal herbs is due to a pioneer named Hikakaku.
先鉄ですね。先人がいたっていうことですね。で、そこを中心に
With that in mind, I think it would be nice if Oita Prefecture could create a village of medicinal herbs.
できればいいかなっていうふうに思っています。答えになっているでしょうか。
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Yes, so as I understood, you refer to the study and the education of medicinal plant, and you believe that the education of medicinal plant should be continued and it can bring more business and livelihood chance. Let me ask our special guest, Professor Nakamura, to see that what are the similarities and differences of Oita Prefecture and Ishikawa Prefecture, because I know Professor Nakamura has been doing a lot of rural revitalization activities in Ishikawa Prefecture and Noto Peninsula. So, Professor Nakamura, do you think medicinal plants in general is a good resource for revitalizing rural area, and is this also a big chance in Ishikawa Prefecture?
私もそう思いますね。今日は
I think so too. Today I had the opportunity to hear about various activities regarding medicinal herbs from Oita Prefecture, and I think they can be done in the Noto Peninsula as well.
それからもう一つ薬草マイスターっていう言葉が
Another thing that came up was the term medicinal herb meister.
実は私たち能登
In fact, we have been running a local revitalization program for working adults called the Noto Satoyama Meister Training Program since 2007 in Noto on the Noto Peninsula.
地域おこしのですね、プログラムを、2007年からずっとやってましてね、地元の青年、それから大都会から能登に来てくれた、あるいは
These local youths, and also those who have come from the big cities, do whatever they decide to do. Some choose to engage in farming, and others may choose differently.
やりたいことをやるっていうですね。それでその中に薬草もですね、少しやってる人いるんです。
And among them, there are people who engage in medicinal herbs.
ヒバの木ですね。能登ではアテ。
For example, the hiba tree, which is called ate in Noto, has a really nice smell.
それからクロモジとかですね。
Also, there are people who use the kuromoji tree, which is not a medicinal herb, but uses its scent for various things.
匂いをいろんなものに使ったりですね。そういうのをやってる人もいますしね。それから梅ですね。梅の木。
Then there are plums, and you can do a lot of things with the plum fruit.
やったりですね。それからちょっと
Also, it may be a little different from medicinal herbs, but many people are researching various mushrooms.
調べたりしてるんですね。ですから薬草もちょっと調べたら私
So I did a little research and found that about 220 people have completed the course at my place.
それからそれ以外に
Besides that, there's another Meister course in Kanazawa,
金沢でも
where about 100 people have completed.
ここは100人ぐらい出てるんですけどね。ですから今日お話しされた薬草の
Therefore, how about having the medicinal herb meisters you talked about today and the teachers interact with our members in Noto via Zoom?
メンバーがですね、一緒にZoom でやり取りしたらどうですかね。ちょっと私、今日は薬草って名前わからなかった。
I don't know the names of the people today, but I'm going to list some of the names of those who are studying at the Meister here and are doing their best in the community who are interested in this.
ちょっと私リストアップしますのでね。それで今日のお話大変面白かったので。
Why not have a discussion meeting or a seminar together, since today's talk was very interesting?
まあゼミと言いますかね。なんか意見交流会ですかね。交流会やったらどうでしょう。それで能登から大分へ。
I think it would be possible to have the people from Noto visit Oita and vice versa.
なんかそんなことできるんじゃないかなと思いましたですね。風見君どうですかね。
Thank you very much, Nakamura Sensei. I think that will be a great idea to have a dialogue between medicinal plant societies and medicinal plant civilizations, let's say.
Civilization.
Because before I come to Japan, I was thinking Japan is such a small country and everywhere is the same. But after living here for 20 years, I found that the flora and fauna in Ishikawa Prefecture and Oita are different. And even food culture is different. And I think even within a small country like Japan, we can learn a lot from the experience of local communities with their natural resources. Thank you very much. There is one question in the chat that I want to raise is from Mr. Saeed. And probably he is from a country with shortage of water. And they are asking, is it also possible for countries with less water to also utilize medicinal plants for rural revitalization? I ask Nakamura Sensei to answer this question first, and then maybe Yano Sensei also.
Kazami, are you asking me question?
Yes, please.
No, I'm sorry. I cannot catch what you ask me.
Okay, I repeat it.
Mm.
Yes, I am going to, I just read, just a moment, Sensei, please. Nakamura Sensei, maybe if you stay in Japanese room, the translator is also translating.
Mhm.
My question is that, is it possible for countries with shortage of water also to utilize their medicinal plants and do rural revitalization with medicinal plants? Yes, I can hear you.
いや、かなくん、
I see. Okay. Nakamura Sensei, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear your English voice.
Okay. 今の質問はですね、他の国は水は少ない国も、
水少ない国ね。はい。Yes, I understand.
And if この国々はハーブと薬草で地域活性ができますか？
dry country, do you mean dry country with small amount of water, people can use medicinal plant?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but anywhere, local people have a special knowledge on medicinal plant, I think. So in the desert area also, there may be some plant which can be used as medicinal plant. So diversity of plants are very large. So in wet country, of course, there are a lot of medicinal plants. But in the drier and desert country, there are many plants fit, naturalized or very much fit in such a environment. For example, in a desert area, there are many cactus, and I don't know the name of plant, but there are specific plants in every specific environment.
Thank you very much, Nakamura Sensei. So I can summarize my understanding that it doesn't matter about the shortage of amount of water.
Yes.
Different climate, they have their own varieties of medicinal plant, and it need traditional knowledge of local community to understand about and know the use of medicinal plant. It is.
Yes, exactly. Your translation is very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And your proposal of having maybe a special webinar on a dialogue between Oita Prefecture and Ishikawa Prefecture on usage of medicinal plant, it will be very interesting. And I think that might bring a joint venture business. I want to change the topic a little bit to tourism, because we are in tourism and we have one of the tourism specialists in the world that had a lot of research and publication in tourism. Professor Cooper is here.
Yes.
I would like to ask him, Professor Cooper, you saw the presentation of Miss Unno and Miss Uchida, and I'm sure that you have visited both of these cities. So based on what you saw from the presentation, what do you think the tourism potentials of these initiatives? Are you willing to travel to Kyushu City and Yufu to taste the medicinal plant food. And what do you think in tourism perspective? What are the potentials of this initiative for rural revitalization?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I thought the presentations were fantastic in the sense that they offer the chance for diversification in the use of resources, local resources. Medicinal plants are important in relation to the pharmaceutical industry. As Dr. Yano knows, the pharmaceutical industry has used a lot of the underlying chemicals within the plants to create artificial drugs. Now, why don't we simply return to nature? That was his message. Una-san, basically the idea of telling people about what you've got in an area is a fundamental characteristic of tourism. I know, for example, that this whole idea of medicinal plants has been carried on around the world. Particular version of that in the UK talks about incredible edibles, incredible ability to eat food that you grow in the community, on the roadside, and so on. And that seems to me to be a perfect resource for tourism. And in fact, they've found that people come from all over the world to understand the cultivation and use of these resources, as you both pointed out. Small towns also, as Uchida Sensei said, can benefit from the realization that they're not alone in what they do with their resources, and that the tourist in general is wanting to have this information, is wanting to be part of it. So let's really, as Professor Nakamura said, let's kick off a ongoing discussion of this, invite some other people from different parts of the world who I'm sure are doing the same thing. I also would point out that I'm from New Zealand, and in my youth, we had a thing called Boy Scouts. Some of you may have heard of this. And one of the merit badges was Maori food, the sort of food that you're talking about in terms of cultural derivations. We had to learn this, and we had to learn it for another reason. The reason that Dr. Yano talked about, that is emergency food. We were out in the forest. We had to live off the forest. So I think there's a very big possibility that we're right in this discussion, that medicinal plants are the thing, and we shouldn't let the pharmaceutical companies keep producing artificial drugs. Sorry, I went on a little long then, but that's my reporting. Yeah.
No, you're right, and yes, tourism can maybe be a good ally of traditional knowledge in terms of promotion, revitalization, and community development. Let me ask Ono-san, it seems that you are doing some business and you have developed this as more interaction and communication. So how are you thinking to develop your business in future? What are you thinking to make your business expanded and bring more people in?
Wild herbs are everywhere, so anyone can use them. I associate this with the tourism industry as a holistic tour for people who are addicted to drugs and want to get better, or maybe people who want to become energetic and etc.
もっと元気になりたい人とか、そういう人たちを、病院とセットに
This can be kind of a set with hospitals.
今たくさん飲んでいる薬を減らしたいんだとか
People who want to reduce the numbers of medicines they are currently taking, or maybe even people who have been told they do not have much time to live.
そういうことから離れて
They can temporarily get away from those kind of things on this tour. It gives something your body needs so it can heal itself, boost your immunity, and gradually incorporate things that will improve your body on its own.
体を調子よくしていくようなことを少しずつ取り入れていけるようなツアー、これを市の観光
I think that if we can work together with the city tourism division and travel agencies to promote this nationwide, Japan can become a little healthier.
していけたら、日本がもう少し健康になれるんじゃないかなと思うんですよね。大分でこうしていくと、矢野先生のところの周りにもたくさんの
Many facilities will be built around Mr. Yano's place, and there are tiny herb gardens around Saiki City with precious medicinal herbs, so we will be able to organize a tour in Oita.
その周りに少しずつ貴重な薬草を集めたものがあったりしますので、ツアーを組んでもらったら薬草の野草のお料理を
You can eat medicinal herb dishes,
発酵食
classical Japanese food, try sunbathing at the sea, and touch the water at the base of the waterfall.
砂浴をしてみるとか、滝の元の水に触れるとかっていうこと、自然を全体的に取り入れていくようなホリスティックツアーっていうの
I think it would be great if we could create a holistic tour that incorporates nature as a whole.
Fantastic. Thank you. That is excellent. I think you are proposing a collaboration with tourism industry and academia. As if I summarize my understanding, you are proposing fermentation culture and natural therapy to be combined with tourism activity design. Also, you are proposing collaboration with tourism industry. And I think this will be Professor Cooper's job to see what are the systems that tourism and food or traditional food can collaborate. And that will be a very interesting example to start from Oita and Ishikawa Prefecture, because I know through the Satoyama Meister program that Professor Nakamura has started many years ago, we have many graduate people who have this traditional knowledge too. If I may, I would like to pass it on to Ms. Uchida and ask Uchida-san about her experience. That how do you think you can make the place that you live more famous through the medicinal plant or through jojoba leaves? So how can you make a destination branding with your local medicinal plant?
Fortunately, I have been the chairwoman of the Yufugawa Gorge Tourism Association for about 10 years now. So I'm really looking forward to spreading the dish using magnolia leaves even further by cooperating with each other.
広めていったらより広がりができるんじゃないかと思って楽しみにしてるんですけど、それと中村先生
Dr. Nakamura,
私の農泊田舎でね、何にも新しい風が吹かないで帰ってきて物足りなくて、農泊農村民泊の話が出た。
when I returned to the countryside and was unsatisfied, I went to Shunran no Sato, a farmhouse group in Ishikawa Prefecture, and I stayed there for 2 days. So I was very happy when you mentioned the collaboration. From that moment, I really want to interact with the people from Ishikawa Prefecture.
もう本当にね、あの瞬間からはぜひ石川県の方と交流したいなと思いました。そしてその、やっぱり廃校の小学校の後で教室を一室一室ホテルのようにしてたあそこに泊まりました。
ああ、そうですか。
そして
私、春蘭の里にね、
Is that so? I went to Shunran no Sato on February for the first time in a while and stayed there.
そうですか。
Is that right?
それでなんかそういう発想がね、すごいな
So I
と思っ
thought
て
the idea was amazing, and though it was a while ago, it left an impression on me.
中野先生が先ほど
I clapped my hands when you talked about the exchange between Ishikawa and Oita earlier.
ああ、どうもありがとうございます。
ぜひぜひ
I would really like to make it happen.
そうですね、僕はね、今、金沢に
I'm in Kanazawa now,
明日、明後日16日から
but the day after tomorrow,
行きますから、
I'm going to Noto for about 2 days.
その時にちょっと
So I'll go to the Noto Meister's base and talk about it there.
はい、
拠点がありますのでね、そこでちょっとその話していきますから。はい。
嬉しいです。
ぜひ、
高いがありました。
Noto and Kunisaki are both peninsulas. There are also various hot springs in Oita Prefecture and Ishikawa Prefecture, so I'd love to interact with you.
ですからぜひ、交流できたらと思います。
Thank
あり
you.
がとうございます。
I think something will come out of it.
そうですね、間違い
Without
な
a
いです
doubt.
よ。はい。
ありがとうございました。
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to add supplementary information that actually Professor Nakamura introduced me to Shunran no Sato about maybe 17 years ago. And both Shunran and Hoba place that Ms. Uchida lives, both places are branded by the name of a plant. Shunran is orchid and magnolia leaf. So in Shunran also, they branded their destination by a plant. And this is Professor Yano's specialty and a special, let's say, opportunity for locals to grow the economy based on natural resources. I would want to ask the panelists if you have any question yourself for us or for the speakers, please go ahead. Yano Sensei, なんですか、そろそろ最後になりますけど、is going to be the end? So do you have any take-out lesson for us?
Thank you for the very informative and interesting talk today. Today's theme was the topic of edible medicinal herbs, but I think if we also look into stories about medicinal herbs, such as Manyoshu and Japanese poetries, we can expand on it more.
日本のシーカとか、そういうものも交えながらですね、物語性を作っていくと、もっと広がってくるんじゃないかなと思います。それと、今日は食べるお話でしたけど、例えば染色ですね。
We can also talk about colorings and how medicinal herbs can often be used as a material for coloring.
よく使えます。で、それと
Also, medicinal herbs themselves are very healing to the human mind.
人間の心を癒してくれますね。で、人間の体って臓器が、植物性臓器と
It is written that the human body is made up of two types of organs, plant organs and animal organs. Plant organ is the organ for people to live. For example, absorption, circulation, and excretion are called plant organs. The other is the animal organ, which is a sensory organ, like seeing with your eyes and feeling with the tongue. Sensory nerves are also that.
感覚器ですね。目で見たり、舌で、感じたりとか、あと、感覚、神経ですね。それと、もう一つは運動するっていう、そういう、そういう3つの系統があるんですけど、それは動物性。で、植物性と動物性がこう、両方あって、で、植物性の方は、
The plant organ is controlled by the parasympathetic nerves, and the animal organ is controlled by the sympathetic nerves. It's possible that the modern people's sympathetic nerves are overactivated, and that is why the plant organs that carry out essential life activities are suppressed. And that is how such a balance is established. In that case, I think that loving plants activates the plant organ, which means it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. I believe that humans are healed by becoming familiar with plants, and that is the essential way we interact with them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yano. I think when Ms. Uno was presenting, I could feel that it's not only something to eat, the way that she decorated the food and having flower in the food, I just wanted to watch. And maybe watching the food was also communicating with the body, not only something to eat. So I think what Dr. Yano mentioned is exactly what we saw in the plate made by Uno-san. So let me ask Professor Nakamura, what is your lesson take out, Sensei, for tonight?
Dr. Nakamura, may I speak to you again? I think there's some kind of fate today because I have another connection with Ishikawa Prefecture. I was born in a place called Honoki, and after I turned 60, I was finally able to create a local specialty with the magnolia leaf. In fact, do you know the place called Mikohara in Ishikawa Prefecture, Dr. Nakamura? And even though I want to revitalize the area, a small countryside like Honoki didn't have anything special. This is when I saw Mikohara. Mikohara has the kanji God in it, and I'm sorry to put it in such a simple way, but I heard a long time ago that Mikohara sent rice to the Pope because of the relationship with the word God, and it was stuck in the back of my mind. So when I returned to this small countryside and seriously thought about the specialties, I couldn't come up with anything at first. I came up with the idea that if we don't have anything, we can find some clues by digging into the name of the place. And this idea came from the story of the Pope and Mikohara of Ishikawa Prefecture. Ishikawa Prefecture has many interesting names, just like in Oita, which I think is intriguing. There's a mountain called Iozen in Kanazawa. It's just outside the city, and it's said to have been famous for medicinal herbs. The I in Iozen stands for the word medicine, and the O stands for king, and Zen means mountain. I heard that there is a medicinal herb myth there, and I think that there are various myths in Noto and Kaga. I haven't studied about that, so I can't say much about it. However, there are various people who are working hard, such as the Shunra no Sato, which you mentioned earlier, and of course Mikobara. I've been here for nearly 20 years, and there are people who have guest houses in Noto Peninsula and Kaga and do various things. I've been watching them for a long time, and they are really hardworking. And from what I heard today, I think you are all doing some wonderful activities. And that is why, as I said earlier, I think it would be really exciting if we had a networking event. I would like to ask Mr. Yano to please make it happen. Thank you very much. Dr. Nakamura, there are currently 537 graduates from my Medicinal Herb Cuisine Meister training course. I'm sure there will be people that would want to take your course when I do let them know. I will let them know. It would be best if I could visit there, but even if I can't, we can do it via Zoom. It's really important for us to keep in touch.
Thank you very much. It's going to get a hot topic, and I'm sure we will have Oita Ishikawa collaborations in medicinal plant and tourism. And it is very worthy of mention that both prefectures, they have a World Agriculture Heritage Site, which is called Sekai Nogyo Isan in Japanese. And they can create a dialogue between agriculture heritage communities. Our time is way past, and I would like to close this session. Let's see if Professor Cooper have about 30-second message for the takeout lesson. Malcolm?
Let's get off artificial resources in terms of drugs and development medicinal plants. That would be my...
Perfect. Yes, I think what you mentioned is also is happening, and many medicinal plant pharmacies are more popular than the chemical-based pharmacies at the moment. Thank you very much. So we are through the end of our time for the first webinar of Scott series in 2023. Please watch the video of the webinar and the recordings in our YouTube channel. And our website is going to inform you about the next webinars. And thank you very much for being with us in your late local time. And thank you for people who are watching us on YouTube live. Many people are on YouTube at the moment, and there are some other people who, because of the time difference, are going to watch us later. Thank you very much, and see you again in Scott webinars. ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
Just before we leave, I want to open the floor for a group photo. Let me ask everybody to turn on cameras, and we will have a group photo. Okay, people are here. Those who want to turn on the cameras, please go ahead, that we can have a group photo together. If more people are coming, you can turn on your cameras now. Okay, a big smile, and looking forward to see you again. Thank you very much.